everyone, this is Debbie and welcome to my channel Ridiculous Goodness, and today we're going to do the weekly guidance reading for January 1st through the 7th, 2018, and I'm also going to do 3 cards for the overview of 2018, so just kind of get a 2-in-1 reading, well, quite a few cards anyways. The usual 3 tarot cards and 1 oracle card, and then 3 tarot cards. So I'm going to use the Energy Oracle card by Sandra Anne Taylor, yeah. And then also Tarot Mucha, well, the publisher is Scarabeo, but the artwork is done by Julia Galina and Barbara Nozenzo. And I'm going to use the Margarete Peterson tarot. So I'll start with the Tarot Mucha. And as usual, I've already prayed over the cards, but I want to still do, like, pull the cards live. Well, we're not live, but you know what I mean. Actually, pulling the cards in front of you guys. I'm just looking at this like, this one here? No, this one. It's just gonna get pretty busy on here. Let me see if, let's move these over here. Make space, make room. Alright, got these 3 cards for the year. Help us to understand the energies of the year. I mean, I did use the Energy Oracle cards, but I mean, it can stand for whatever it needs to be, but I'll to go through the cards with you guys, and then we'll talk about what's going on. Alright, so I'm gonna zoom in here. So I can show you all the cards. We have the King of Wands right here. Then we have the Page, I'm sorry, it's the Knight of Cups. Just looks very young. Then we do have the Page of Wands. Then we have number 42, Woman Holding a Coin. Then to round out, or just to understand the energies of 2018, we had a 6 of feathers. No, like pointing to the middle here. Reminds me kind of like a wheel. Or definitely how we, of course, interconnect with each other and go on our own path, but always are one with each other. Actually, being able to know that we're actually understanding our differences instead of feeling like we all have to choose the same way, or feel like just because of our unconditional love for each other doesn't mean that we suddenly lose our individuality and that we all do the same thing. It doesn't matter if we experience the same kind of emotions and experience the same kind of events in our life. It's always going to be different for each one of us, but we can enjoy the similarities and the differences in such a grand way. Then we have the Mother of Flames. And then 4 of Feathers. And these all come together. All the messages will flow together, which is kind of what I was feeling before. It was just like, oh, well, this might be for the year, but it's still going to all work into each other and express all the things that we need to understand in this moment, so we can carry it throughout our lives in the way that needs to. Just want to point this out while we're close up here. There's somebody laying here sleeping. It's very peaceful, even though the colors are so blue and seems very gloomy, but they seem really at peace. There's the gold around there, just kind of giving a feeling. It's just, you kind of want to say, oh, it's melancholy, kind of sad, but it really isn't. It just is surrounded with so much beauty. That's just, those cups that have cracks in them, and you put gold paint or gold glue or something like that to put the pieces together. It kind of reminds me of that. It just, you're piecing yourself together, healing yourself, and giving yourself the rest that you need, and you're fully capable of pulling yourself together, even when you feel a grand amount of emotions. So, sorry, my voice is kind of leaving sometimes, but there's nothing wrong with my voice. It's kind of one of those things hey, it just kind of doing right now. I've been getting over bronchitis, but it's just taking a while. So it's kind of one of those things. It's you just make the most of it and just know that all the intricate little things that your voice does is definitely something to enjoy, because sometimes it's fun to just use your voice and to express, so just kind of have fun within, not only express how you feel, but with all the little things that your voice does, but also you can just have fun and make voices and everything like that. which I was doing when my voice was like kind of failing me, or like going into like a deep kind of like what would be octave or something like that. Anyways, let's get I zoomed out of here. Alright, so organized. We once again have the King of Wands, and it's of course important to do not feel rushed in your communication, because what you have to say does matter, and we definitely have felt in so many ways that we need to rush and say what we're going to say because people don't have the patience apparently, which I'm sure we all have felt. And even sometimes we don't have the patience. Sometimes we're just like, okay, like, you know, I know what you're trying to say. It's like, you're trying to say this, but, you know, it's important to not feel like you have to censor yourself. Like, you know, of course, if you're saying something like, just absolutely inappropriate and you know it's inappropriate, then, you know, probably don't say that. But, there is a way to always communicate what you think in a way that doesn't, you know, bring down somebody else. And it doesn't mean that someone's going to agree with you, because that will make them feel uncomfortable, yes, but there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with somebody. It's important to have disagreements, because I don't think there's anyone that I agree with fully. And there's people I disagree on with things that are really important to me, and I still love them dearly, and they are supportive and, you know, very loving people. So it's just something that we all need to work on, and it's not going to end your world if you communicate something and it doesn't go well. That you didn't get to say how you felt exactly the way you thought you should have. It's something that you realize, like what you said, as long as you're doing your best to communicate how you feel, it's coming out the way it needs to. I mean, there's plenty of times, even just this year for communication, it just seemed like it didn't shut down, but it was just like every time that I tried, it seemed like it was never going right, and I just felt that there is something blocking it, and I just was so disappointed and feeling like I couldn't. I mean, I was really hopeful that, you know, no matter what I was feeling, that they were saying, oh, you'll never be able to communicate well, and you'll always feel like this, you'll always have, you know, this exact emotion, this exact anxiety, this exact kind of situations in your life, no matter what. And it's like, I knew that wasn't true, but everything was proving it to be true. But I kept going, and, you know, it got extremely, it changed, and I experienced new things and felt new emotions, new feelings, you know, just different ways of doing things that I didn't realize. I mean, I experienced them before, but they just feel different, and they are making things feel new, because they are new. How I'm basically trying to piece this together is just basically filling it out. Even right now, just, you know, kind of with the energies of the end of the year, just kind of like, wow, all these things happened and I got through them, and I'm sharing them with you. So I just, this is needing to be said, and just to be able to share and to express to you, because right now I'm communicating, obviously, and I guess when you are experiencing all the emotions at the same time and trying to, I mean, I've looked through them and experienced them and done my best to actually to kind of express them so that I can, move on. But, this is something that will keep evolving, like my, all of our ability to actually feel all the things that we need to experience at this time, because, all the things that have happened to us, and we're thinking about all that right now, and just wanting to feel like we've actually made a difference in our life, we actually moved forward. All those emotions that are going on with the new year, and that we experience as a collective and individually, of course. So it's just coming through in a strong way. And so I guess what I'm just trying to say, like, that that we just need to feel comfortable expressing ourselves, not in a way that you don't have to be talking someone's ear off or something like that. That's not, you don't want to feel bad if you like to talk a lot, because there's people that really love to listen a lot. I do really enjoy listening. But, there is a way to always, like, balance things, and, but it's just, not involving fear and feeling like you can express yourself. You can de-escalate situations where people are getting angry, but if there's a situation you get involved in, well, you'll have to just check in with yourself and see what it is. But usually, if it's just something that you're already involved in, and you just have to take a step in communicating with that person in a way that, once again, de-escalates things and puts people at ease by not, trying to be right. It's not about that. So, just some kind of, situations that we might, well, it's not really about we will come across these situations. I mean, we don't live in a cave or something like that. We will come across situations in our own lives in different ways. So we do need to bring up certain things when they're appropriate, and know that we're not going to be changing anyone's mind usually, and it's just about accepting others for who they are. So the communication aspect, I mean, we don't have any major arcanas, but we have the King of Wands, and communication is so important, and there's a importance in having these face cards. I mean, even when we have the woman holding a coin, you have like the Knight and Page here. There's a reason that we have these cards, because they kind of represent us in different aspects of what we're trying to do in our lives, just all the things that we're trying to experience. So we have the Knight of Cups, and he's holding up and just kind of keeping it from spilling it over, or just being really careful with it. And it just seems like all the things that are contained in this cup is like kind of like our talisman a bit, but we're just bringing it over to help other people to actually like be able to gain wisdom, of course, because we need our cup filled too, but just exchange. I mean, he's traveling and he wants to exchange his goods. I mean, he has his horse here, and I'm sure he has like all his supplies, that the horse is also carrying. Like, he has what would it be called, like arraignments or something like that, just adornments and stuff like that, but it's not just, I mean, he has everything in his cup, like, but you can just imagine, like, he's carrying lots of goods and everything like that are needed to be exchanged, and so just thinking of the physical things that you can help somebody with. It can be just letting someone borrow something, or just, being able to be there emotionally, which is, a cup suit, just about emotions. Just being able to connect with people. Of course, we already talked about a lot about communication, but, just feeling connected to them, just not, just kind of being able to do some emotional work for each other. So it's like, it's always balanced, and you're always able to receive what you need, and you give what they need too. It's just traveling to different places, whether it's local or not. And of course, there's like, of course, astral travel. But, I guess I'm just focusing especially on, of course, using your imagination is very important. If there's something, never like postpone talking with somebody if you feel it's the right timing and everything like that. But you can always imagine talking to them, and what would you say to them? Just imagine, even if, like, or you just imagine talking to them or to a higher self, or however you feel comfortable. Your imagination is so very important. You don't need to, I mean, it's like a form of traveling. When you use your imagination, you'll kind of see that it'll move you in a way that that won't even always feel like your imagination. Sometimes it'll feel like you're kind of moving in a direction that you didn't expect, and you're like, oh, this is like, I'm watching something, or, I'm having to communicate and say what I would feel, but I'm also gaining lots of insights, and I didn't realize that they would say that in my imagination. But, I mean, most of the time, you can use this, like, if you can't get a chance to talk to them, and you can at least help yourself emotionally, and just in a healing way, just to move forward and not, like, carry that weight anymore. And the other person will feel it too, but of course they may not know what to attribute it to. You can use this in so many ways. So physically traveling, of course, but you go and see other people to make arrangements to see them. Just just basically having that connection with somebody else and making an effort. But of course, using your imagination takes effort too, and it does make a difference to help you to move forward and other people to move forward, because to express yourself is freeing, and even if it's once again in your imagination, it's still helping you to think in a wise way, in a way that, you know, if you are upset with somebody, you can like let them know and just say how you feel. And if you're noticing that you're just, you know, blasting them, then you're like, oh, okay, I need to take a step back and you know, not do that, like especially when you're in front of them. But you know, even when you're in imagination, just try to express, like, you know, say, you know, I'm angry about these things, but you know, don't get to the point that you're just, you know, so angry that you can't even, you know, I mean, it's good to feel your emotions, feel your anger. Just, you'll know when the situation needs to be healed, like, and you need to pray or something like that, and just ask for help. Like, you know, when you're doing this work or you're going traveling, like, you know, just pray, or just I guess just do or say, like, just talk out loud, however you want to say it, just to make sure that you are, you know, you're actually inviting the good energy around you and the beings that are there for your highest good. So you know that, because you're not alone, and you can help you to deal with your emotions, and help you have situations where you can talk to that person and be able to communicate in a very unconditionally loving way, and you know, keep people, you know, to keep them in your heart, like in a way that you can forgive them, and they can move forward just as much as you can, you know, since you are working to let them know how you feel, which will, you know, basically move you forward in such a great way that you'll see the progress happening. I'm reminded of, well, it's just happened a couple, well, now it's like, it seems like it'll be like a couple months, but it's kind of like over, well, no, I guess it, because it was November 21st, so it's not too long ago. My aunt died, which I did mention before, so it was, you know, it was pretty recent, but you know, that caused a big shift in my family to be even more, to see each other as more precious, to actually, like, not take each other for granted, even though we love each other so much and we do try our best, but we just get busy with everything, just like, you know, it seems to happen with everybody, and definitely everyone's trying to pull together even more, and you know, kind of spend as much time as we can with each other. So it's just important to use each opportunity you can, not to rush or anything like that, because there's never a need to rush, but to just ask for discernment on these matters, and just know that what your mind is focusing on will help you to better understand yourself, like that you'll be able to actually see, well, I'm focusing on this particular situation and it really makes me feel really uncomfortable, so I need to do some healing on this. You know, imagine healing light coming through, and know that, you know, the people involved, you know, you are going to take charge of, my camera just shut off there, but just saying that you are going to be able to take charge of what you need to do, and be able to basically understand why you're feeling certain things, and be able to use it to your advantage and be like, oh, okay, I need to express this to myself, and like, you know, kind of look at it and not let it go. And you don't want to just let things fester, and you know, you need to deal with it when you feel that you need to look at it. It's not just going to go away. So it's just time to not let, you know, say, oh, I'm too busy with work. And, you know, I understand how it feels to be extremely busy with work or with other worries, and just letting it pile on. But also it's important to see where you can make time for yourself and understand that when you are focusing on something, that you just need to just understand how it is that's helping you to move forward, because you will deal with it and then it will never be like that again. It'll may come up in another way that needs another aspect of that same thing that you need to deal with, that kind of intertwines with what you're going through at a time, but it will still be different, and a different, you know, part of it will be healed. Sometimes it just takes over time. It just takes bit by bit, and then, I mean, we're constantly going to have to keep healing and keep finding, you know, what is, you know, bothering us. If we come across a situation that's bothering us, we can't, once again, ignore it. It's just, you know, it's not like we're doing something wrong if we still experience certain, you know, irritations or about certain things. It just, once again, having to express ourselves. And that usually just sometimes it, once again, it's like lots of personal work, just working, you know, using your imagination, but, you know, it just kind of intertwines, because you can like meditate on it, and you could just kind of find your own way to kind of like do the work, like find your own routine that works for you, and kind of find the solutions, like what actually works for you, to make it so that you can deal with your emotions in a positive way and not ignore it. So we also have the Page of Wands, and I mean, it's kind of funny because it's like, well, messages, you think a page, like they're gonna send, you know, give you a letter or something like that. So it's just seemingly like there's like, it seems like this particular page or person is like kind of not saying everything they should, or like basically that they're hiding something a little bit, or maybe just like observing something that they know is happening, but they won't do anything to stop it. So it just seems like a little bit, I guess the word is like, you know, standoffish, like something to kind of like, it just seems like it's kind of like counteracting the energy that we've been talking about, and it's just important to feel like, you know, that you don't get distracted by what other people are doing, and not feeling like you can follow suit with that, and like feel like you can't communicate fully what you're wanting to say, because there's times that we hold back what we're saying, and that you just need to make sure that that person feels comfortable to actually express it, because there's times we shut down communication because it makes us feel uncomfortable, which I did mention before in this video. So we can just be standoffish. We can just make it feel like there's certain things that will not go over well. So it's just important that we check that energy in within ourselves. So if there's something that we're just like, that we have this boundary that if it's not met, and kept, then we just cannot be okay with it. Or that, if you have people in your life that are, not expressing everything, and you just feel like there's some kind of blockage between you, then it's something that you need to figure out how it works out in your life. There's definitely been miscommunications, and this is also another good thing to bring up, miscommunications, because it's not always, there's times when it's things like this is coming through, that things happen that kind of feel like a little bit strange, just kind of like with things happening too perfectly in a situation that seems like something is definitely not going right for whatever reason, like if somebody's involved in trying to make something bad happen. But it's just important to not let yourself fall into feeling suspicious of people. It's important to see the best in people. It's not okay to just roll over and let people walk all over you, but it's just important to see that you can find a way to, it's not about forcing something to happen. It's just a situation will happen naturally. I mean, sometimes you do need to go up to people and talk to them, but usually it's you just know when you need to do that. There's a lot of different situations, and communication styles differ, and some people are just dealing with wanting to feel safe, and they don't want to always communicate or show everything that they're feeling, everything that they're thinking. They want some privacy, or they want more, that you put more on the line for them to actually say, oh, okay, I will look out for you because, you actually have proven to me that you actually will help me and you're not going to hurt me. But it's mostly just, it's a fear thing. Usually that's why, people will just be kind of mum about things and will, talk behind people's back because they're just insecure or something like that. And it's just one of those things where you don't have to fear anyone's judgment or anything like that. You can just feel like you're able to move forward with your head held high, instead of feeling like what someone else is not telling you is going to ruin you or something like that. Eventually it'll come out in the best way possible. And this is really linking in just into things that we experience throughout our life, whether this is something you're thinking of from your past or something that will come up. There's no doubt that we'll deal with these kind of situations in our life, and already have. Just knowing that you have nothing to fear, you don't have to look at anybody and think, well, this person definitely is holding something back from me. It's just one of those things look at yourself and see, am I doing this to somebody? Am I creating a sort of environment that will just make them feel that they have to do this, not because they're not responsible for their own stuff, but still we have to look at ourselves and see what we can do for ourselves, for other people, to make the situation better, because it all starts with us. So we got to number 42, woman holding a coin. And, well, of course we all want abundance, and that's definitely there, but you know, the energy that is of course needed has been coming through, and it's, you know, that's feminine energy, which we all have, and it's just kind of just like in tarot, the coins stand for like something, and that's actually physically there right in front of us. And so of course we need to keep expressing how much we actually feel, and knowing that that feeling can be expressed in a way that you can see, like with your art or with just anything you create, whether it's just if you're like creating, like, well, it all is really, you know, having to do with creativity, of course. So it's like it could be like your own clothing, like or jewelry. It's just kind of like being able to sing, that brings out that, you know, of course people can experience that, and it's actually and it does bring abundance, because, you know, when you feel like connected to somebody when they're like singing or something like that, you feel like, you know, you start to imagine things in your life. It makes you feel things. There's certain, you know, you see somebody wearing something really awesome and you're just like, wow, that looks really good on them, and I'm glad that I saw somebody expressing themselves that way. And it's basically just about showing, well, so once again, I keep saying expressing yourself, and it's like, it's so important. But once again, it's not about like feeling like you need to get on stage, or, you know, it can be like, you know, if you're singing, then yeah, you're gonna probably be on a stage or something like that, or in front of people at least. So it's just important to do it in a way that, you know, it doesn't have to be so, it's not, I guess it's not outlandish in any way, but it's just in your face, which is nothing wrong with like being able to sing, or, you know, wear a nice, you know, clothing that you enjoy, regardless of what it is. It doesn't have to be like fancy clothing like this, you know, it can be anything that you feel comfortable in. It's in a way that you keep thinking it's going to be in a way that, oh, it has to be in your face all the time. But it can be really subtle too, and meet people on many levels. Basically, like, they notice it, and it helps them subconsciously, and also they notice on a conscious level. It just happens so quickly, and having to explain it, just all the things that are happening when you just do all the things that you need to do, and that does bring forth the energy you need to have the stability you need in the physical world, all the things that you need, because you're expressing yourself, because you have more energy to do things, because you're enjoying yourself. It just all comes together in such a beautiful way. So it's just the energy of being creative and, you know, receptive to receiving, and, you know, understanding yourself and being comfortable with yourself, and being able to give freely of yourself in a way that you feel you deserve to give and be recognized for that. and it'll come about, of course, in many different ways, and no one will, who is working towards their situation, even, it doesn't matter who they are, like who the person is, it's like they will find, a way to see this in themselves, that to be able to express, how they feel, because there's nobody that's really left out. Like, everyone is given a chance to see their potential. So there's nobody you can look at, even if they don't seem like they're able to, there's some people you look at and you're just like, well, I'm just not sure about this person, like, you just don't feel connected to them. So it's just, you have this feeling of judgment, and it's a very empty feeling. It's not giving you anything at all. I guess why this is being brought up, it's just that we all have judgments, and it's just important to see that we can be able to see why those judgments are being made, or maybe it just comes out of the blue and you're like, yeah, but I really feel like those thoughts don't really fit me, like that's not how I want to feel. I want to move forward, and I just, those thoughts may hit you, but it's, once again, with the whole communication and emotions and everything coming up, like you want to face them. You don't want to ignore it and say, well, these feelings make me uncomfortable. I don't feel like they fit me at all, but I'm just gonna leave it here. And it's like, no, just do yourself a favor and deal with it now and see why you feel that way. And if you feel like it doesn't fit you, and it's because all the other things, it's just all the consciousness of everybody just needing to work on it. But it's like everyone needs to work on it. So even if it's like just something that is in the human consciousness that is very deeply ingrained, it's like we all need to work on it within ourselves, because we all have people that just trigger us and make us feel like, well, I just don't see this person as someone worthy of being loved or something like that. And it's up to us to be like, no, you are loved. I mean, you are loved unconditionally, and you are worthy of the greatest things in life. It doesn't mean that you have to be that person's best friend. It just means that you have to see that in the person, that they're capable and deserving of unconditional love, and just not have all that judgment, because you have judgment of yourself as well, and it's just an extension of that. If you judge someone else, then you also have judgment of yourself. So even though it's seeming like extending the message like in a different direction, it's of course very important. And so, like I was talking about with the cards, these 3 cards for the year, we have 2 feather cards, and just feathers would be for swords, and the flames would be for wands. So we already have 2 wand cards here, and the mother flames would of course be the queen of wands. So just wanting to wrap it up, since we have the moon here and the 6 of feathers, actually, that thinking of a traditional tarot, you would have somebody in a boat being led across, like, across the body of water, and feeling like feeling protected, which you do feel in this card, because you're all together and there's a full moon in the back of all this. So you just have that there, and then there's like seems like it almost like a web, but it's like definitely thicker. Like, it's kind of like almost like a dream catcher kind of thing. It just, you're all interconnected and helping each other move forward and coming to a greater understanding of yourself and others. It is always about not letting yourself slip into the old habits. Feel like if you feel like you can't keep it up, like you're like, no, there's no way that I can keep up all the things I need to do in order to be the best person I can be. It's like, no, don't get overwhelmed. You're not alone. All these feathers are coming together, and it's just showing you, it's like, yes, you're on your own path, but you are not alone, and you have the strength to do it. Don't look at every little thing that you're going to have to do. Don't look at a year ahead and be like, no, there's no way I can do it. There's no way I can accomplish these things. You need to see it in a way that, you understand, no, it's all in the little ways that you do things. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens from taking the steps you need to do time after time, and understanding that you have exactly what you need. You don't have to look ahead. When that causes you to just totally shut down, don't do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being, happy and wanting the future to happen for you. Or it's okay to look at the future and say, oh, I see that this might be a problem. I'll see if I can find a solution for this. But, it's not okay to just try to keep overextending yourself and trying to think that you have to look at every little step they're going to take in your life, or even in the next 3 weeks or something like that. You don't ever have to do that. It'll come about in the way you need to. You don't need to figure it out all right now. And then with the Mother of Flames, which is very appropriate, that's the Mother of Flames, because you definitely need the femininity, the feminine side of things to help the communication to come through, the messages to come through, and of course, since it's like the one card, it's like we're communication, yes, and so that means like messages and being able to feel safe in those messages and understanding that your intuition is actually correct, and when you need more proof, you ask for discernment, and you just know that the time waiting for that proof, whatever it is, is time well spent. Just knowing that everything's going to be alright and not feeling like you can't express. I'm just like, oh my god. It's kind of like, you just like, express. just have fun with it. It's like, yes, we know you're using the word express a lot. It's like, it's fine. It's like, you don't have to be afraid of using it. Just like, know that it's needed, because it just needs to be, I need that message so badly. Like, I need to express myself. I had somebody who was like, I was at a spirit circle, and they were saying, you need to express yourself, and it was just kind of like a little jarring. Like, I was just like, what? Like, it's a little bit like, she wasn't like being mean or anything like that, but it's just like, no, this needs to happen. But she just said it very plainly, and just, so it's not because I'm just, of course it's for all of us, but it's also important to mention it, because it just, it's so very needed. It just, like, how can you not want to see all your beauty being totally out there and not holding back anymore, because that's just no good. Like, why would you do that when you're just so totally awesome, right? So we have the 4 feathers, and so that's definitely very freeing, because it's so stable, and it just means like, yes, you're totally protected, and this person is just totally protected, and like, just covered within just the energy of, like, I guess it's just like seems, I don't know, it seems really balanced. Like it's healing, and it's like this big feather up here. It's kind of light, but it's like just protecting you, and you're just totally able to like hibernate. I just want to say hibernate because it's just like, of course you're taking action, but like, you know, you're taking action when you need to, but when you need to rest, which there's definitely a lot of need for rest. I mean, the Four of Feathers or Four of Swords, you know, definitely is after having so much time taking care of certain things, and then you're just like, okay, now it's time to rest. It's just it happens when it needs to. It's not just at the end of the year kind of thing. You know, this is the last card, and it could mean that, in which it, you know, of course there's definitely lots of need for rest after a long year, but it's also just taking a time within your lifetime, each moment you can, get the rest that you need, and not overextend yourself, and know that anything that needs to get done is, you know, already, you know, thought of and prepared for, but you don't need to worry about it, because, you know, there's feathers protecting you, and that means like all the beings of light that are here for your highest good are taking care of the details behind the scenes, and you can just relax, because there's so much, you know, energy. It's like, no, we have to like keep moving, you can't rest. It's like that whole capitalistic kind of feeling. You're like, if you are sick, you better go to work or else you'll get fired or something like that. It's just like, that is changing, and it's just important. It's just important to not feel like it's gonna end your world if you need a rest quite a bit. That is the messages for this week's reading, and also for the wrapping up. I mean, not wrapping up because it's not like we're wrapping up the year, but well, we are of 2017. But 2018, these three cards are of course for it, and it's just letting you know just what to focus on, I guess, and just kind of help you to see what is possible, and just knowing that once again you can rest. So I'll talk to you guys again soon, and I hope as always that this has helped, and I'm very happy. So thank you. Bye.